What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Jayhawk Sports Report. I'm Nick Price. He's Hank Cavanero, and we have an awesome show for you tonight. Tell them what we got.
All right, Nick. We got a lot, and I mean a lot from Oklahoma this weekend, and also NBA All-Star stuff from All-Star Weekend. It should be a pretty good show. And the rematch between KU and Oklahoma had a lot to live up to after the instant classic triple overtime thriller between the two teams back in January. Yet somehow Saturday's round 2 bout between the heavyweights lived up to the hype. We have number 6 Kansas and number 3 OU going at it in Norman. The two senior leaders, Buddy Hield and Perry Ellis, warming up pregame, and they are ready to go at it. And early on in transition, Brandon Green finds Devontae Graham, who drills the corner 3. Graham had himself a field day from long range. Carlton Bragg, he loves what he's seeing with his teammate Graham. He's going to show he can assist too. Ellis, inside finish, and that's it. Frank Mason slicing his way through the defense, and he's going to get the bucket and get back on defense like he's supposed to. He would end up fouling out. But the story of the game for KU was Devontae Graham, his best game as a Jayhawk. He finished with a career-high 27, and the Jayhawks pull off the huge road win in Norman. Final score, 76-72. Devontae Graham was a top performer for Kansas. He took over the Jayhawks after Frank Mason did foul out late in the game. He finished with a career-high 27, going 6 of 9 from long range. Buddy Hield finished with 24 after not making a single field goal in the first half. Devontae Graham was playing defense on him the entire game. And after the game, Coach Bill Self praised his sophomore guard's performance on both ends of the floor.
He did a great job on Buddy, and we held him to 24 and did a remarkable job. And then for him to be our best player offensively by far and make about 2 or 3 plays down the stretch that he had to make every one of them for us to have a chance. So I think he grew up a little bit today.
Kansas returns home tonight for an ESPN Big Monday matchup against Oklahoma State at 8. For more on that matchup, stay tuned later in the show.
While round 2 of the Kansas-Oklahoma matchup went to the Jayhawks once again, KU needed all 40 minutes to pull out the road win. KUJH's Jen Halverson was in Norman on Saturday to report on the rematch that most certainly lived up to the hype.
ESPN College Game Day took place Saturday morning in Norman, Oklahoma, leading up to the Kansas Jayhawks taking on the Oklahoma Sooners for the second time this season.
These are two of the best teams in the country. So I think anytime they play, when you have two high-level teams like this, you've got a great opportunity to have a memorable game.
The game may not have gone into 3 overtimes, but that does not mean it wasn't a battle to the end. Like most games the Jayhawks have encountered this season, giving their all for the whole 40 minutes of play is key to securing a win.
I don't think people realize how difficult of a conference this is. Night in, night out, facing top 25 opponents, the best players in the country, and to do it have 11 straight conference championships is huge. Some people can't even get one, and we've been lucky and fortunate enough to have 11.
Coach Bill Self says that the Big 12 Conference has always been tough, but that they are just now gaining the recognition they deserve.
It's amazing to me, all of America is focused on the Big 12. I mean, I don't know what the ESPN numbers will be, but this will be the most watched game of the year, I would think. What's happened, there's been so many good games, and primarily the 2 that we played with OU, it's brought a lot of attention to it and made us more of a national conference.
The NCAA tournament will begin in less than a month, so keep your eyes open for big things coming from the Big 12. Reporting for KUJH, I'm Jen Halverson.
After his big-time performance on Saturday, Devontae Graham was named the Big 12 Player of the Week for the first time in his career. Graham earned the honor by putting up a career-high 27 points in the win over Oklahoma, including shooting 6 of 9 from three-point range. He had 16 of his 27 points in the final 8 minutes of the game and took over for the Hawks after Frank Mason fouled out. Graham was also key defensively for KU, doing a good job of limiting OU superstar Buddy Hield to just 5 of 15 from the floor, which, as we've learned all season, is no easy task. And Kansas's big win over the weekend propels them to number 2 in this week's AP poll. Villanova still sits at the top of the list. Oklahoma stays at 3 despite the home loss to the Jayhawks, and Iowa and North Carolina round out your top 5. 4 other Big 12 teams are in the rankings, with West Virginia staying put at number 10, Iowa State coming in at 13, and Texas and Baylor round out the poll at 24 and 25 respectively. Despite having the fewest teams of any conference in the NCAA, the Big 12 has 6 ranked teams, once again, the most of any league in college basketball.
And after Kansas's huge win against Oklahoma on Saturday, ESPN Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology update has the Jayhawks as one of the 4 #1 seeds of the NCAA tournament. Despite the loss, Oklahoma still a #1 seed along with Villanova and North Carolina. Lenardi also has Kansas pegged as the 1 seed for the Midwest region in Des Moines, Iowa. Also in the same region, 2 seed Miami and Dayton at 4. 2 seed would be Iowa. Miami was the 3 seed. Duke and the Big 12 foe Baylor also in Lenardi's current Midwest region projection.
ESPN's Big Monday returns to Allen Fieldhouse tonight for a matchup between the Big 12 leading Jayhawks and the slumping Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Well, this matchup is much more hype than the numbers would show, as Kansas got blown out by Oklahoma State 86-67 in Stillwater earlier this season. A lot has changed since that matchup, however, as the Hawks are currently riding a 5-game winning streak and are 6-1 since that game, while Oklahoma State is 2-5 in that time. Also, this game's at Allen Fieldhouse, and after Wichita State lost at home to Northern Iowa on Saturday, the Jayhawks now hold the longest home court winning streak in the country with 37 straight victories in the Fog. Devontae Graham is confident that this game will shape up much differently than the first matchup.
We got a game on Monday, and we went down there and got embarrassed at Oklahoma State, so it's time to move on.
Now let's take a closer look at tonight's matchup. Kansas has the clear advantage on offense, averaging almost 14 points per game more than the Cowboys, but Oklahoma State's stingy defense is what got the best of the Jayhawks in Stillwater. As you can see, they limit their opponents to just under 66 points per contest, and they held KU to 42% from the field and 27% from long range in the first meeting down in Oklahoma State. Key player to watch in this one for the Cowboys is Juwan Evans, who had 22 points, 6 boards, and 8 assists in the blowout against Kansas earlier this year. He averages just under 13 points per game this season. And as always, a player to watch for Kansas is leading scorer Perry Ellis, who puts up about 16 points per game. Tip-off for this one is for 8 o'clock and will be televised on ESPN. So, Hank, a pretty big weekend for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, it's a big week last week, and it's not going to stop. As Devontae said, it's the Big 12.
It doesn't get any easier in the Big 12 going from here on out.
No, not at all. And it's cool. This game will be senior Perry Ellis versus a freshman. So, should be a lot of fun. And when we return, KU women's basketball not doing as well as the men's team, but they're struggling, and they continue in Manhattan this weekend. Stay tuned.